you know, this is my first film and people know you a little bit more and they form opinions of you. And it's just making sure that I can witness all that, but not take it on and let that affect my own views and opinions of myself, because I think there's been times when that line has got a little bit blurry, and I think that's really dangerous.
Welcome to this very special episode of Rain with Josh Smith. I'm serving you the guest you wanted for the longest time. She is the gal from Liverpool who burst onto our screens in Dr. Foster. She went on to slay it in Killing Eve. She won a BAFTA, an Emmy, was nominated for 2 Golden Globes, and now she's starring opposite Ryan Reynolds in Free Guys. Jodie Comer! Woo, 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 woo! What an intro, Han.
You always give me the best intros.
Oh,
I've told you this.
babes.
You raise it every time.
Raise the bar.
Yeah.
Well, you are raising the bar, babes, because not only are you starring in Free Guy, but you're also singing Mariah Carey in it.
That wasn't planned. That was something that happened like months after.
Yeah.
Ryan had messaged me and he was like, I'm just curious, like, would you be up for singing like a kind of alt version of Fantasy for a certain part of the film? And I was like, went into my bathroom, did a couple of recordings just to check if I thought I was good enough. And then I was like, I'll give it a go. So yeah, I went to LA and we recorded that in like Capitol Records, I think it was.
So stop it, you actually recorded it in a recording studio?
Like the Beatles have like recorded there, Rolling Stones, Jodie Comer.
Well, babe, it must be so epic to land this role in Free Guy, playing the gaming designer Millie, and then also just being on this huge production, this huge set, starring opposite Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like
The
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
WTF? When were you literally like, what the fuck is going on here?
I think I was like, what the is going on when I was on my flight to New York. Obviously, having watched Ryan's films for so long and just being like a huge admirer. You know, I was like, do I call him Ryan? Do I wait for him to introduce himself?
Mr. Reynolds.
Yeah, like I was like, oh. But he was so lovely. I mean, he's everything that you think he would be, as is Sean Levy, the director, and they were so welcoming.
I mean, you're also serving us, as well as being the gaming designer herself, Millie, you're also playing your own avatar, who's a badass, kick-ass babe.
Yeah.
And to be honest, babe, you are a kick-ass, badass babe.
Aww.
How much of a kick-ass, badass babe are you in real life, though, Jodie Comer?
Well, I have no sense of coordination. I'm all limb. I wanted to do as much as I possibly could. But I had an incredible stunt double, Hayley Wright, who she did all the like really, really cool stuff.
How far did you go with the stunts?
I can't do any flips in the air, Josh. So I'm going to be very honest with you right now and say that was not me. You heard it here first.
I'm not going to lie, I'm wildly disappointed.
I did my best, but my best wasn't good enough.
Did you get yourself into any scrapes while you were trying to do said stunts?
Yeah, there was an accident one day, and I got I got kicked in the face, which was brutal, and it knocked my glasses off, which was the most embarrassing part. The impact knocked my glasses off my face. But I have to say, I've never been kicked in the face before, so I've definitely ticked it off my bucket, you know, like the bucket list.
I just love the fact that it's a bucket list achievement.
I think everyone should experience it just once in their life.
It's very grounding, I imagine.
Seriously, my ego is so bruised.
You had a whole studio of people watching you do it.
Yeah, but they were nice people. You know, luckily they didn't laugh in my face. They maybe waited until I left the studio, but they didn't do it in front of me.
It has got like a very sort of meta meaning for life, because I was thinking like, oh my God, life is just a game and we're all players in our own game and we need to take control of our lives and dictate our own narrative. And it's like almost like Ryan's character, Free Guy, is just stuck on this loop and it's about breaking the cycle. In your own life, when do you feel like you've taken the reins of your own life and been like, do you know what? I'm going to break out this loop and this cycle that I'm in and I'm going to change the pace.
Ooh, I think probably like within the last year, right? You know, like having kind of sat with myself in the last year and then maybe just kind of finding myself a little bit more and maybe realizing habits that don't serve me, things that don't make me feel good, like actively trying to remove myself from them, I think is something that I've really been trying to practice. And I've definitely seen a difference in, like, just taking control of those things. If I'm actively doing something that makes me feel bad, going, why am I doing that? You know, do something else that's going to make me feel good. And I feel like every year brings new challenges. You know, this is my first film, and people know you a little bit more, and they form opinions of you, and it's just making sure that I can witness all that, but not take it on and let that affect my own views and opinions of myself, because I think there's been times when that line has got a little bit blurry, and I think that's really dangerous.
It's about listening to your inner voice, right?
Yeah, trust your gut. I always felt like I was that person, and then I was like, oh God, I'm kind of falling away from that a little bit, and I feel like I kind of refound it and gained a lot of strength.
The Last Duel, not only are you starring opposite Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Ben Affleck, it's also a Ridley Scott movie. Again, what was the WTF moment when you got that role?
It kind of came through my agent that really wanted to meet me for this project. So I went and met him in his offices in London, and we just had a chat and stuff, and there was a bit of miscommunication because he thought I'd been sent the script and I hadn't.
You were literally like...
And he was like, so what did you think? And I was like, about
Loved
what?
it.
No, I was like, about what? And he's like, the script. And I was like, I haven't been given it. So there was like a whole confusion, and he said, I want you to go away, I want you to read it, I want you to give me your honest opinion. Luckily, I started reading the book because I was like, I should probably
do some homework.
Yeah, do a little bit of homework once in my life. So that was okay. And and I read it, and I thought the script was like fantastic. I thought the way they'd, approach the subject matter and just like the kind of format of the script was really interesting. I'd also like dreamed since I was like 16, like when I first met my agent, I had a flashback, and I texted her when I was on set, and I was like, do you remember when I came to Oxford Street to meet you for that very first time? And she sat me on the couch and she was like, so what do you want to do? And I was like, I think I actually said, I want to be like Keira Knightley, I think is what the words that came out my mouth.
When it comes to taking on a role like that, like it must weigh on you quite a lot. How do you make sure you don't take it home with you and take it on? Is it quite a difficult thing for you to let go of at times?
It's funny because I've definitely had that kind of awakening on that job. You know, sometimes actors can be a little bit, they can kind of wallow in that. Or sometimes you listen to an interview and it's like, I just couldn't, when I went home, I just couldn't shake it off. And it all gets a little bit kind of pretentious, I feel. Can do, not always, but I've always been like, oh God, come on, like it's not real, blah, blah, blah. And then I think in the last year, I've definitely just noticed how it affects my mood in the slightest way. And it was the same when I filmed Help at the beginning of the year. And it was my mum actually who was like, I'm trying to have a conversation with you, and you're not listening. You're not giving me anything. And so it's my family that get the brunt of it, because it's just that my head's in a completely different space. So what I do now, even if I have like a night shoot, like I'm killing you, like if we wrap at 1, I get a boiling piping hot shower. That's kind of like my rinse in the day off, relaxing myself, kind of just stepping out of it. And even just something simple like that, just like doing something for myself, like putting some cream on before bed, or like just something that is really soothing. It really helps me.
All about that self-care base.
Yeah, having a little ritual has actually been like, has made a huge difference. And going, okay, I know when I'm going to do this stuff, I mightn't feel any different, but what I'm giving other people is going to be a little bit off,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and that's okay, but just try and be wary of it.
This is what we say in this podcast all the time, be your own ally. Because you need to be, right? Like you need to support yourself, and if you support yourself, you're then able to give love back, be it to your job, be it to your partner, be it to your family, whoever. But you can't do that unless you come from a position of love in the first place.
There's one thing to feel lucky about being somewhere in a space, wherever it may be, but then there also comes a point where you're like, just fucking own it, Jodie. Sometimes I catch myself in how I act towards things, and I'm like, you've worked to be here. Stop with the, oh, thank you, or sorry, oh, it's just so great. And you should never lose your gratitude. You can still be grateful, but then there's also a side of you that has to step up and go, no, I'm here.
And get rid of that imposter syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that is like such a toxic thing, isn't it? When you're like, oh, do I deserve to be here? Do I not deserve to be here?
Imposter syndrome's so 2020.
Yes, so 2020.
We'll leave that behind.
We are now into empowered syndrome.
Exactly.
Yes. And we always ask at the end of every episode, in the reign of your life, what is the one rule you will always live by?
If you think you stink. Which means if you think too much of something, you're going to be bad at it. You're going to mess it up. And this came from recording Mariah Carey for Free Guy. Because I was obviously giving it beans in the recording booth. And he was like, Jodie, we have a rule in the studio. It's if you think, you stink. And I was like, got it!
Well, babe, thank you so
Thank you.
much for joining
Oh,
me.
it's such a joy.
And thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Rain with Josh Smith. We'll be back very soon with a brand new series, so stay tuned, like, subscribe, and follow wherever you get your podcasts or your videos from, and we'll see you then.